just kind of practice one thing so we can make sure that we all stay on one page, okay? At some point, I'm going to say 2 claps, and I need both of us to go, okay? All of us to go. So when I say 2 claps, we're going to go, okay? That's how I know y'all are with me. Y'all with me? Y'all got it? Everybody? All right, here we go. 2 claps. Easy, easy. One band, one sound. That's what we did, right? Okay? And how do I collect it? Because there's so many different ways that you can get paid from music, right? And you want to be included in those revenue streams. Okay, so it's a couple of objectives that we're going to cover today. Some of them are listed here. The first thing we're going to talk about is what is music publishing. The second thing we're going to talk about is why is it important. I just kind of gave you some insight on that. And then the third piece we're going to talk about is how do I get paid for my publishing? And then also what are royalties and how do I collect them? And why do I need split sheets and producer declarations? You'll see them called producer decks. It's in the contracts. Nothing's real until the lawyers get involved. Okay? And then we'll have any questions and any scenarios that you all may have about music you already have out or music that you're planning on putting out or what's to come from the product that's been created already, okay? Right? You're your most spiritual self when you're creative. And so to be able to take those downloads, connect with the spirit within you, and then put that out in the form of art where people can connect to it instantly is a gift. And it's a lot of responsibility as well. Because what you say, how you say it, what kind of picture you paint for them can ultimately change the trajectory of someone's life. So understanding the power of your pen, okay? The power of your pen. Oh, so what is music publishing? Music publishing is the business of promotion and monetization of musical compositions. And so music publishers ensure that songwriters receive royalties for their compositions and also work to generate opportunities for these compositions to be performed and reproduced. Okay, so let me simplify that for you. Basically, publishing is just getting your money, okay? It's ownership, it's who owns the record. Now, for example, if me, what's your name? Kadeja? Kadeja. Nice to meet you. So, me and Kadeja are in the studio. We just decided to link up, do a record one day. We ain't talk about no business, no split sheet. She come in, she do some dope melodies for me. She put down some dope lyrics, and then I come in and I just got the beat. Okay, she leave the studio. She didn't think nothing else about the record. I put a little time in with the record. I come by the studio and I go and I play it for Nisha, right? Nisha right here, right? So I play it for her. She liked the record. She already an artist. She got a fan base. She got an audience. She gonna do her thing. So now what she says is, Kenny, let me get that record. So now I done took some work that me and her done did, and I done got in the studio with an established artist. Didn't tell her that she was involved. She gonna recreate the record come out, you don't even know it until you see it on TV, until you hear it on the radio. If the business ain't taken care of, that's typically what's gonna happen. So by the time you go back to figure out, oh no, I wrote that record, you owe me owe me some money for that record, now you can't prove it. Now it's just me and you, it's just he say, she say. And because me and her were in the studio together, you was nowhere to be found. So there ain't no way to tell that you wrote the record. People in court right now trying to get their money for records that they done wrote. That they ain't no paper trail of how they actually contributed to the record. This is why publishing is important. We're going to go through split sheets and what that means and why it's important to do those split sheets or at least have that conversation in advance. Okay? When the money start flowing, that's when things get a little complicated. So why not argue over who's going to get a cut of zero, right? I can give you 100% of zero, I can give you 10% of $1 million. Which one you want? You feel what I'm saying? Like, so these are the conversations that you got to have up front, because when the money get involved, it's all type of stuff going to take over at that point. T-Mobile Festival or whatever it is, say the one music fest, and you're on stage and you're performing your record, the writers and the creators of the record are also getting paid from the performance of that song. Okay? Now, the writers and the creators of that record can be completely different from the artist that's actually performing the song. The artist got booked, okay? The artist got his money up front, got his front end and his back end, his or her, front end and their back end. However, the creatives, the writers, the producers, they still got to get their check a little time later, okay? Now, at that point, there's a royalty that's calculated based on that record. The higher the charting of the record, then the more money that they'll actually get paid. The higher the value, basically, right? If I got a top 10 record, if I got a top 5 record, I'm going to pay more than I would if it's a top 40 record, right? So therefore, because it's it's in demand, basically, okay? And so they understand that by playing your record in their music or in their product, it's automatically going to garner a certain level of attention and a certain level of credibility or even prominence because it's that one record, right? You hear a lot of times that people will play certain songs on movies or certain, like I like to take stand-up comedy, right? You have some stand-up comedy shows where the comedians will come into a certain record, right? And on TV, they'll even say, we're going to have to pay a lot of money for that one. You know what I'm saying? To clear that, right? The show won't even air with that song if we can't clear that record from who it belongs to play it, okay? So there's power as a creative. There's power as a songwriter that you all have that you need to make sure that you monetize, okay? Something of yours, depending on what caliber of artist you are already, will determine how much you're going to charge Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm Jay-Z and you sampling something, you Beyonce, I want my full, I am who I am. Like, you're going to pay me what I'm worth. I don't care who you are, right? But an artist such as a Soulja Boy who he ain't no Rudy Poo artist, but at the same time, he wasn't as relevant back then as he, you know what I'm saying, as that song kind of helped boost him back up and get him back out here. So what he would charge an independent artist 30%, it's Beyonce, so I'll take 10. Matter of fact, even if you don't agree to 10, I give me 5, I'm still gonna say, yeah, I just tried it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but in any form of fashion, sync licensing and licenses for samples are ultimately where you're gonna make a lot of your money on the publishing side. Okay? And we talking about 4 or 5 figures, 5, 6 figures, depending on how big the project is and how big the movie is, okay? Let's just say you have a hit record, #1 record in the country, they want to put it in a movie, they're going to pay you a good probably 6 figures to use that song, okay? Period, okay? Because it's a well-known record, and they got the budget for it. So, you know, any movie just ain't going to come pay for that. So, the last part is the printing the sheet music. Now, this is typically for our instrumentalists, right? The piano players, the violinists, the saxophone players, because they actually have sheet music. They may not be writing when they're actually freestyling, but there's somebody that's going to convert that freestyle into actually written sheet music. So let's just say you have a book to where you're actually selling sheet music, right? Or they convert your record into a book where you can see how they can play the chords, you can see the bars. That still in and of itself is printing sheet music, okay? So you get paid from that too, almost like writing a book, okay? So in the music industry, a music publisher or the publishing company is responsible for making sure that the songwriters and composers receive payment, right? And you want payment, right? You want these things. Anytime you're riding in an elevator and that elevator music's playing, somebody getting paid, okay? Anytime in the car, you listen to the radio, somebody getting paid. Every stream, somebody getting paid. It may not be a lot of money, but somebody getting paid, okay? Now, I will say this. A lot of artists, specifically in your shoes and beyond, struggle with determining when it's appropriate to put the time, effort, and energy into this, okay? Into making sure that the songs are registered, that the copyrights are done, that you got your trademarks, everything is straight. And the reason that they typically drag their feet on this process is because you don't want to fight over pennies, okay? You don't want to fight over pennies. I'm not arguing with you about split sheets when we ain't made no money, bro. Okay? We talking about 10 cents, cuz. Like, I'm not arguing with you over 10 cents. It's just not that important to me. Now, the problem in doing that up front is you run the risk of when that song does take off, when you're not going to be able to time it, now you're going to come back and we ain't talking about 10 cents. Now we talking about 10,000. Now we talking about 100,000. Like, now we talking about something completely different. So that conversation going to be different. The pressure going to be different. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important that I understand that you don't want to put too much effort in this early, but you also don't want to overlook it as well. So at least write down some notes for yourself to say, hey, this day on this time, I did this record, this was my contribution, this is the publishing percentage I want on this record, you know what I'm saying? And then later on when the conversation needs to be had, you can return back to those notes, all right? Also, the point that I'm trying to make to y'all is this. It's very important that as you climb in your career, you're very conscious of who you allow in the studio with you during your creative process. Okay? Because all these friends and family members, they want to be rappers, they might got some bars, and ain't really got the juice. They want to come in the studio and tell you, hey, bro, don't say that, say this. It's going to be the same one. And once that record actually popped, they're going to be like, bro, I helped you write that record. Bro, no, you didn't. You was in the studio with me.
Oh,
no,
and by the way, not to interrupt, but is it New Jersey? it's a state that they passed a law that if anybody is in the studio, that they're like automatically a part of the record. Like even they could do a like you know how people are like ooh hey, that hey could give them a percentage. So like don't let the vibe being messed up make you lose out on some money. Cause did he really deserve 5% for that, y'all?
No.
No.
Oh, no, but he was in the right place. Not at all. So we talked about split sheets real quick. Why do I need split sheets? The first reason, because if you wrote your composition with other songwriters, then you'll want to complete a split sheet for them. I'm collaborating with other people, so I need to know who did what and who owns what, so when the money come in, we ain't got no problem. Okay? The second, this will secure in writing who wrote what percentage of each song, adding up to 100 on my thing. I got my young boy, or my best friend, or my boy that he a producer too, he just ain't hot like this, right? I'm going to put him on my record. I'm going to put his name in the credits with my name. And then when the record take off, not only do they know me, they know him. So now I'm going to go to other publishers to get him a publishing deal. I'm going to get him some money. You know what I'm saying? Off my way. Thing is, I got to keep feeding him. Unless he just hot, he fight like that. A lot of your notable producers, your younger producers, have went through that piggybacking process at some point, okay? Whether you knew them at the time or not, they went through that process, okay? Any questions on the songwriter splits or any of these arrangements?
Other than just supporting your friends, why am I doing all these different producers?
Why?
Why do I need to do that?
Because the sound is ultimately the highest priority. It's the sound, it's the product. See, the problem with the music industry, especially when it comes to creatives don't care about this, okay? They care about the sound and the product. They just want a fire record. This is overwhelming to a creative. Your manager come in the studio talking about this, he gonna kill the whole vibe in there. You know what I'm saying? That's why they don't let a lot of managers in the studio. They don't let a lot of business professionals, business executives come sit in the studio. Because our mind, we think of some totally different stuff. Like, who are these people in? Like, who's your publisher? We start asking questions, make people uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, who's your man? Like, get your mans up out of here. Because now the creative essence that they tried to embody and tried to capture is now compromised. You know what I'm saying? So this is why this is important. There's another conversation amongst your managers, their publishers, that's talking about this. Their lawyers that's talking about this. This is when stuff get real. It ain't real till the lawyers get involved. You know what I'm saying? So talk all they want to in the music industry. I'm telling y'all now, until the lawyers get involved, don't get your hopes up. I want to sign you to a deal. Okay, that sounds great. Here go my lawyer's information. They don't contact your lawyer, they just talk. They just talk. You know what I'm saying? So, there's no questions on this, but no more questions on this. That was a good one. So, I know we've gotten to the end of the presentation. Any questions for me? Any questions for me about anything we talked about? Or issues or questions y'all have about your own respective career? Anything?
Tell me, how long did it take for you to get to where you are now? How much hard work was put in?
A lot. I think it was ebbs and flows, right? When you got a hit record, it's a lot of business. It's a lot of moving pieces. But there are some long periods of time in between those hit records where it's very silent, very quiet. And it's all about how you manage the quiet times that's going to help you propel back to the good times, or the louder times, right? With us, it was more so of continuing to stay ahead of the sound. How do we stay a step ahead of the market? So a lot of the creatives that I work with, they don't listen to the radio. They don't listen to any other artist's music. All you're gonna hear playing when you with them is their music. That's it. They don't care about what the other person talking about. They not listening to what that other person's saying. They are locked in. When I say these people are bubbled, they like a bubble. There's a reason why these creatives go out to Wyoming, why they go out and have these camps, why they go out to New York, why they go to these secluded areas. It ain't nothing different than what they did when they was at home, in their mama's basement. You know what I'm saying? In the studio at the crib. It ain't nothing different. They just want to seclude, lock themselves away, get in their own space, come out with what they come out with, and by the time they press play for an unfamiliar audience, they just gonna sit back and see how y'all respond to it. And if they really believe in their sound enough, they gonna already know it's gonna take you a minute before you get with it.
Exactly.
Drake, for example, his last product, last album, he already knew when I put this out, they ain't gonna get it at first, but they will, right? Every song, people forget that Drake had Hotline Bling. Hotline Bling was a platinum record. Hotline Bling was a pop record. Okay? Pop record. So was he a pop artist? No. Has he had a hit record on every chart, on every genre? Yes. Is Kanye a gospel artist? No. Did he have a #1 gospel album? Yes. So the point is that that depending on the genre you put out, when you got a hit record, the pop side of me, how do I get into EDM to make so where now we can dance? You feel me? And not lose who I am, still me, right? So again, right now, what's going on in the market with Drake and his album is he's softened the tone. BPMs are different. The tempo of the music changed. So now artists are gonna pivot to get on this EDM tempo, right? Because otherwise you're not going in rotation. Because the tempo, he changed the vibe, right? That's what Vibe Tribe is about. We changed the vibe. So I appreciate y'all today. Thank y'all for y'all time. Awesome. I wish y'all the best of your careers. I know that y'all put in a lot of work over the last week with putting the song together and the video. I know it's still some more you got to go on the video part. But I'm really looking forward to hearing how it comes out, seeing how it comes out. I know there's some very creative individuals in this room, some that I've seen personally firsthand, and others that I'm gonna learn about over time. Okay, so I look forward to it. We are in the business of taking on new writers and producers, not necessarily artists, but I help get artists paid. Okay, so that's what it's about for us. So man, if y'all want to connect after this, y'all let us know, let me know. I appreciate it. You can change your mind, you can change your life. All right? Change your mind!
Some bitches on, let's not forget your Jesus piece. Out there, ass rich and shit as if it all comes easily. It's reckless.